The public spotlight again focused on the figure of Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS, who has been known for his calm but meaningful demeanor. This time, not because of his stunning stage performance or the global achievements he has achieved, but because of something much more subtle, a facial expression that was captured on camera when he discussed the name Lisa for Blackpink. The thing that seemed simple at first glance actually triggered a big wave of speculation among fans, reopening the discussion that had only dared to talk about vaguely. The moment happened in a casual interview that initially showed no signs of going viral. Jungkook looked as usual, friendly, a little shy, and occasionally smiled lightly when answering questions. But the atmosphere changed when the interviewer mentioned Lisa's name. The smile that had been released before slowly became more suppressed. His eyes looked a little dodging before finally returning to focus, and there was a short pause before he gave the answer. For some people, it's just a normal reaction. But for loyal fans, especially those who have followed Jungkook's journey since the beginning of his debut, such small changes are not something that can be ignored. They started replaying the video, slowing down every second, analyzing every micro movement that appeared on the idol's face. What did he really feel at that time? Is it awkward? Or is there something deeper that he is trying to hide? Speculation is also growing rapidly on social media. Many argue that the expression shows an emotion that cannot be completely hidden. Some even associate it with the previous interactions between Jungkook and Lisa, both those seen directly at public events, and those that are just small coincidences that are caught on camera. In the world of K-pop that is full of strict boundaries between personal and professional life, moments like this become fuel for the imagination of fans. But on the other hand, there are also those who try to see it more rationally. They remind that Jungkook is an artist who has lived for years under the spotlight of the camera. Every movement, every expression, even every second of silence can be interpreted in various ways. Not all things have hidden meanings, and not all changes in expression indicate something big. It could be just a spontaneous reaction that occurs due to fatigue, pressure, or even just unpreparedness to answer unexpected questions. Apart from the various interpretations, one thing that cannot be denied is how strong Jungkook's influence is as a public figure. A brief expression of it can trigger a global discussion, involving millions of people from various parts of the world. It's not just about him as an individual, but also about how the public projects their hopes, emotions, and even fantasies into the figure they admire. Interestingly, this phenomenon also reflects the unique dynamics between two big fandoms, namely ARMY and Blink. Jungkook and Lisa's names mentioned in one context alone are enough to create a wide wave of reaction. Some feel enthusiastic, some are curious, and not a few feel protective of their respective idols. In the midst of all that, the fact that only an expression is a trigger shows how sensitive and intense the relationship between idols and fans is. If you look deeper, this moment is actually not only about Jungkook or Lisa. This is an overview of how the modern entertainment industry works, where even the smallest detail can go viral and be overly interpreted. In the digital era, the boundary between reality and perception is getting thinner. What is seen does not necessarily reflect what is actually happening, but still has a real impact. Jungkook himself did not give further clarification about that moment. He continues to carry out his activities as usual, appearing professionally at every opportunity, and showing no signs of being disturbed by the speculations that are circulating. This attitude actually adds to the mystery, making the public keep wondering without ever getting a definite answer. On the other hand, Lisa also did not give any response regarding the situation. As an artist who is also under the global spotlight, he seems to choose to stay focused on his career and not engage in speculation that does not have a clear basis. The silence from both sides actually strengthens the public's curiosity, creating an empty space filled with various theories and assumptions. In the end, what happened shows that in the entertainment world, sometimes the smallest thing actually has the biggest impact. A short expression can be a long story. A pause can be an unsolved mystery. And in the midst of all that, the public keeps looking for meaning, trying to understand something that may never actually be meant to be understood. Does Jungkook's expression when discussing Lisa the Istvítilna have a special meaning? Or is it just a coincidence that is magnified by public attention? The answer may never really be known. But one thing is for sure, that moment has managed to attract the world's attention, proving once again that every detail in an idol's life can become the center of global attention in an instant. The wave of attention that emerged from that brief moment did not just subside, but continued to develop into a wider and deeper discussion. Jungkook's name again dominates various platforms, not because of the release of a new song or a spectacular stage performance, but because of something much more subtle, body language that seems to speak more honestly than words. In an era where every second can be repeated, enlarged, and analyzed, even the smallest expression becomes an endless material to be discussed. Some fans began to compare that moment with Jungkook's various old interviews. They found certain patterns, trying to connect one expression with another expression, as if arranging puzzle pieces that have been scattered without direction. Every blink of an eye, every suppressed smile, even the way he took a breath before answering, all became part of the narrative that was built collectively by the fans. Lisa's name continues to appear in the discussion, as if it becomes the central point of all the growing speculations. But the deeper the discussion takes place, the more it can be seen that the public is not only interested in facts, but also in possibilities. The modern entertainment world has created a space where imagination can flourish without limits, and moments like this become the perfect trigger. Many begin to imagine scenarios that may occur behind the scenes, building a story that feels real even though it does not have any confirmation. In this context, Jungkook and Lisa are not only individuals, but also a symbol of something bigger. The meeting of two great worlds that have millions of loyal fans. Interestingly, in the midst of the frenzy of speculation, there are also voices that try to remind us of the importance of limits. They emphasize that both Jungkook and Lisa are human beings who have the right to their privacy. Not everything that is seen in front of the camera should be interpreted as something that has a hidden meaning. There are times when an expression is just an expression, without a big story behind it. This approach may sound simple, but in the midst of such a strong wave of interpretation, it becomes something that is difficult for some people to accept. This phenomenon also reopens the discussion about the pressure faced by K-pop idols. As part of BTS, Jungkook has grown under the public spotlight since he was young. Every aspect of him has become public consumption, from achievements to the most personal moments that are accidentally exposed. The same thing is also experienced by Lisa as a member of Blackpink. In conditions like this, keeping the expression neutral is not an easy thing, especially when faced with questions that may be unexpected. Over time, the moment began to undergo a transformation. From just a piece of interview video, he turned into a symbol of how the public interacted with the figure they admired. It's no longer about what really happened in those few seconds, but about how millions of people choose to interpret it. Everyone brings their own perspective, influenced by their experiences, expectations, and even their personal emotions towards the idol. There are also those who see this incident as evidence of the power of the emotional connection between idols and fans. They believe that the reason why Jungkook's expression can be so influential is because fans feel close to him. They feel that they know him, understand his habits, and therefore are able to catch the slightest change. But on the other hand, this closeness can also be a double-edged sword, because it opens up space for interpretations that may not always be accurate. In the midst of all that, Jungkook still stepped forward in his own way. He continues to perform, continues to create, and still shows the same dedication to music and his fans. There is no official statement, no long explanation, only consistency in the attitude that seems to say that not everything needs to be explained. This attitude, for some people, is actually a form of its own answer, that not all mysteries must be solved. Meanwhile, Lisa also continues to carry out her activities with the same professionalism. He remains active in various projects, showing that his main focus remains on the career that he has built with hard work. The silence of these two parties creates a unique balance. On the one hand, there is speculation that continues to grow. On the other hand, there is a reality that continues to run without being disturbed. In the end, this story becomes a reflection of the era in which we live now. An era where information moves very quickly, where the boundary between facts and interpretations becomes increasingly blurred. A brief moment that may not have a big meaning for the perpetrator can turn into a global phenomenon because of the way the public responds to it. And maybe that's where the real attraction lies, not on the exact answer, but on the process of finding meaning itself. Jungkook's expression when discussing Lisa may only last a few seconds, but the impact has created a long discussion involving so many people. A reminder that in the entertainment world, sometimes the most memorable thing is not what is said, but what is not expressed.